Assalamu alaikum, this is Huma Islam, and today's topic is the Battle of the Trench, or it's also called the Battle of Ahzab, and it's also called the Battle of the Confederates. It occurred in 5 AH. Remember, 2 AH was Badr, 3 AH was Uhud, and now in 5 AH. AH is after Hijri, then the Battle of the Trench takes place. Sufyan's challenge at Uhud. Sufyan challenged the Muslims to meet again because they thought it was an undecisive battle that once the Muslims won, and then due to a weakness, then the Makkans won. So it was practically undecisive. No proper winner came out of the battle. So Sufyan challenged at Uhud. 1,500 Muslims went to the marketplace of Badr the next year. Muslims stayed for 8 days, but the Makkans did not show up. That's why we have a gap between 3 and then 4 and then 5. Makkans preparing for a decisive attack. All Arab tribes were called together. Abu Sufyan started calling he sent messages to different Bedouin tribes and many other tribes to come and join. He wanted a decisive attack. Why? Because he wanted to avenge, in fact, Badr and Uhud. So Abu Sufyan managed to gather 10,000 soldiers from allies. Qurayshi were 4,000 in number, Qurayshi from the Makkans naturally, and then the Ghatfan tribe was 2,500 in number, and then the Asad tribe was 3,500 in number, and Sulaim, the Banu Sulaim, was 700 in number. So it's the Qurayshi, the Banu Ghatfan, the Banu Asad, and the Banu Sulaim. They all joined forces together to attack Medina. You must remember the tribe's name and the numbers of troops that they gave. Banu Nadir also joined forces. Whereas you remember, Banu Nadir were not allowed to join forces because according to the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, they were not allowed. And then we have a Quranic reference, when they came upon you from above you and from below you. Because they came, this is remembered, the trench is remembered in the Quran by this verse, and Majlis al-Shura was sat, and Salman Farsi suggested to build a trench. Now, building a trench was not Arab war strategy, it was the strategy of the Persians. They used to build fortresses and trenches around their fortresses. So the Prophet ﷺ accepted his view of building a trench, so that they built a trench to the north of Medina, and on the Confederates all came and camped on the other side of the trench. And remember, Banu Qurayza was below in the southern area of Medina, where the Muslim family were. It's just a picture to look fancy, in fact. Muslim strategy. Muslim gathered 300 Muslims to defend Medina. Salman the Persian suggested digging a trench. The trench dug on the northern side of Medina was 55 kilometers in length, 4.5 kilometers in width, 4.5 meters in width, and 3.5 meters in depth. So could you imagine how huge that trench was? If you can see in this small map that I've got for you, here's Medina, Banu Qurayza at the back. You can see it's encircled, and the trench is from one mountain to another mountain, and the Qurayshi camped in the northern area. The siege begins. Confederates arrived in January 627 CE. The siege lasted for about 27 days. Muslims faced food shortages and cold weather. How do you think the Muslims maintained their faith during this difficult time? This can be asked as a B-part question. How do you think they maintained their faith? Basically, just by looking at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and knowing that he is also going through this difficult time with them, he has not left them. That would build their strength. And then plus, remember, they promised martyrdom if they die in the process, and if they do not die, then they're also ghazi. So many things were keeping them strong. The unity between them all, that was keeping them strong as well. Some tried to cross the trench. Amr ibn Abd, Ikramah bin Abi Jahl, and Nawfal tried to cross the trench, which was near to impossible. Above were killed by Ali and Saad bin Muad. Ikramah escaped. The above two were killed by Ali and Saad bin Muad, but Ikramah managed to escape. Crisis in Medina. Rumors spread of an attack from the Banu Qurayza. Muslims became demoralized. Naturally, they're on the war front at the front, and all of a sudden they hear a rumor that the Banu Qurayza, the Jewish tribe that is in the south, is planning to attack the Muslim families. Muslims became demoralized. Quran mentions the hypocrites saying, Allah and His Messenger have promised us nothing but delusion. What lessons can we learn about the unity during times of crisis? It's very important. Nuaym's strategy. Nuaym ibn Masud was a secret convert to Islam who offered to help. He created discord or sedition among the Confederate allies. He sowed distrust between Banu Qurayza and the Confederates. On Saturday was a Sabbath day. The Banu Qurayza did not come to fight. The Prophet ﷺ won over the Banu Ghatfan tribe. Now what happened was he went to go and tell the Makkans that the Jews are siding with the Prophet. They're not going to come and fight. And then he also said the same thing to the Confederate, to the Confederates, to the Makkan army, that the Jews are not going to come to fight. So you stop fighting. They've sided with the Prophet, and vice versa. It was vice versa. The Banu Qurayza was also told that the Confederates, the Azab, are not going to come to fight. And what happened was on Sabbath day, when they insisted to fight, because it was a Sabbath day, Jews do not do anything at all. They're not allowed to do anything at all on the Sabbath day. They didn't come out. So the sedition, the discord that was created between them proved right. The Prophet ﷺ won over the Banu Ghatfan tribe. He managed to, negotiate with them. Divine intervention. Strong winds and harsh weather affected the Confederate camp. Muslims saw this as a sign from Allah. The Quran states, O believers, remember Allah's favor upon you when enemy forces came against you. How might this event, the coming of the divine help in the form of strong winds and cold weather and uprooting of their camp, have strengthened the faith of the Muslim? Naturally, it must have strengthened them a lot. So there was no decisive battle here. Remember, the Confederates came, they camped outside Medina, and they couldn't, overcome the trench. So they had to just lay the siege, and then it ended with gusty winds. Confederates retreat. After about 27 days, the Confederate army withdrew. Lack of provisions and harsh weather conditions contributed to their retreat. Prophet Muhammad said, and now we will go to attack them, and they will not come to attack us. It's a hadith from Sahih Bukhari that this is the time that the Prophet announced that now this is the last time they were going to come to attack. Now we will go and attack them. What impact do you think this victory had on the Muslim community? This victory, in which they've changed the strategy, they waited 27 days in an adverse environment, but it helped them a lot. Significance. The significance of the Battle of Uhud. Muslims emerged victorious without even a major battle. It was marked as a turning point in Muhammad's influence in Medina. Makkans lost prestige and trade routes. And last attack from the Quraysh. It did prove as the last attack from the Quraysh. How did this battle change the balance of power between Muslims and their opponents? Of course, it shifted the power balance. The power was all shifted towards the Muslim side. Importance of strategy and innovation in facing challenges. It's good, even in this war that we went through, the India escalation and Pakistan, the recent one, the May 7th, that occurred on, I think, May 7th. The new strategy of drones and cyber attacks, that helps. So we should always be open to innovation. Value of faith and perseverance in difficult times. Your faith is the one that keeps you strong, and perseverance means to stay patient in the most weirdest situations. Significance of unity within the community. Unity also matters. If the Muslims were not unified, they wouldn't have lasted a week. What other lessons can we draw from this historical event? From Islam. Thank you.